right, welcome to the League of Legends first cast of the Penn Manor League of Legends team. I'm Scott Herzog.
And I'm Clay Craig.
So Clay casted Overwatch with us last season.
Yeah.
And he's back here helping me cast League for a little bit. He won't be in for all the games, but welcome to the stream, those of you that are joining us. It is a pleasure to have you here. And we are waiting to take off on our first game. But you are on the Overwatch team too. You played League a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah,
you know?
enough. But you're primarily a part of the Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Part of that.
So he's going to help me
so.
just give some color to this, and especially try to educate our audience, because I think the reality is there's a lot of people that might be tuning in that for them this is not a game that they're familiar with, and League has a lot of complexity to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff that goes into this game compared to like games like Overwatch that I play.
Yeah, which is kind of like a first-person shooter, I guess you would say, right? I mean, how would you classify Overwatch?
First-person shooter.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And there's a lot more that goes into this, than what you typically kind of expect.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go in the League.
I've been playing League a year, and I feel like I know 70% of the game. Like there's still stuff
only
that I know.
70%.
Yeah, well, I figure that I certainly there's a lot that you need to pay attention to that I still have to learn.
Yeah, I mean, there's like tons of characters and things
Yeah,
you can do with the game.
150 some characters. It's kind of insane.
Crazy.
Well, so what we want to do is we want to help you figure out what's important. And so I have this we did this for Overwatch. We had like a informational video that kind of gave an overview of like what to be paying attention to as you watch.
Yeah. That
Well,
was nice for people.
we have this for League too. They're going to
Really?
actually talk about what to pay attention to the screen. I'm going to roll that now, and we'll be back after that.
When spectating a game of League of Legends, there's plenty of information on the screen. Let's take a look at the visual elements used on the screen during the broadcast. And to start things off, let's take a look at Fog of War. So here's the game how it would look from C9 Sneaky's point of view. He can only see things that him and his team reveal, and he has no idea what is waiting for him in this bush. And as we roll the clip, we're going to find out that it's actually Samsung's Ambition that is camping out in that bush, and you do not have vision into the brush unless you have a ward in there or an allied team. Now, as we roll back the clip, this is how it would look for you watching on a regular broadcast. You have vision enabled for both sides, so you can see clearly that Ambition is lying in wait here for Sneaky, and as we roll the clip once more, we get to see poor Sneaky die a second time here, as if once wasn't enough. But it's very important to know that this is not how most players play the game. So, you know, when you're playing at home, it's going to look a little bit different, but we get the advantage of being able to see everything during the broadcast. And next, we are going to be able to take a look at the top of the scoreboard, where there is a ton of important information for you guys to track here. Starting off with, of course, the team tricodes. That is simply the team's names. In this game, it is the Rocks Tigers and SK Telecom T1 who were playing against each other. And then gold. This one is extremely important. Gold is going to give you a good idea of which team is more powerful at any given time, which team is ahead. You get gold from killing minions, monsters, from taking turrets, as well as killing champions. And then, of course, game time next will track when certain objectives are going to spawn, as well as just how long into the game we are. And then kills is going to be how many champion kills each team has achieved, and that can give you a good idea of who is winning the fights, but not always who is winning the game as a whole, because objectives are very important. And speaking of those, we next have turrets. Turrets are important defensive structures which must be taken down to win a game of League of Legends, and as you do take those down, you gain more map control as well as some of that all-important gold. The first turret that you do take down is going to give you a nice chunk of bonus gold, and that can be very important to getting ahead in the game. And then, of course, last but not least, we do have the series score, which you're going to want to track throughout the games tonight. Next, we will briefly touch on dragons, and as you can see here in the top left, we have the next dragon spawn. This time it's going to be Infernal, which is one of 4 different types of dragons. They respawn every 6 minutes and will give you game-long bonuses, such as increased damage from the nice Infernal dragon, or increased health and mana regen. Lots of great bonuses, and the teams are going to be looking to fight over those objectives. And then next we will be going on to the side of the screen where we have the champion portraits. As you can see here in the top, that is Trundle. You can see that nice little square where it does show each champion's face. Summoner spells are powerful abilities selected at the start of each game. They generally have pretty long cooldowns and are chosen by players there. Next is going to be the ultimate ability. That will be unlocked at level 6 by each player and are generally very powerful abilities with much longer cooldowns. So tracking the cooldowns here on the side of the screen will let you know who's in a position to win a fight and who might be on that losing side. Champion level next, also very important because not only does each level unlock new abilities, it increases the damage from those abilities and also gives you a lot of extra stats. So you're going to be doing more damage, be tankier, very, very important stuff. And then, of course, HP and mana. Everyone knows this if you do play video games. When your health hits 0, you have died. The other team has taken you down. And, of course, mana, you need it to cast spells. Going to be very important, especially in the early game. And then now as we take a look here down at the bottom of the screen, we have the scoreboard. The scoreboard is going to be tracking the status of the individual players as well as the overall game. So we have the champion icons from top to bottom. It will be top lane, jungle, mid lane, AD carry, then support. We have these numbers here, which are referred to as creep score, or CS commonly throughout the cast. That's going to give you an idea of how many minions or monsters players have killed throughout the game, and that's going to be something that really feeds into how much gold these players have to then buy items. KDA simply is the kills, deaths, and assists achieved for each player, which can be a good idea of how well those players are doing in the game. And then, of course, their item builds here. And as we are at the start of the game right now, they don't have a lot of items, but as the players get more powerful, collect more gold, they're going to have more items and more of them that are very, very strong. So more completed items, the stronger you get. And last, but certainly not least, we do have the mini-map here in the bottom right. And the really important thing to note about the mini-map is while we may be watching, say, the bottom lane, or in this case, we're right now watching the jungle, you can track where players are moving throughout the map by looking here. You can also see the objectives such as the turrets and the ultimate golden nexus, which has to be killed to win a game. But as we're watching mid lane here, you can see that perhaps the red side jungler is sneaking around towards the bot lane. That's something you may want to track because that can give you a heads up on where action could be coming next.
All right, well, welcome back to the feed for Penn Manor Esports. Today, we are playing Franklin Regional Senior High School. Guess what their name is? The Toxic Tantalizers. That reminds me a lot like Connor. I think Connor when we say that. Toxic and tantalizing. Like, think of those names together.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah,
to what Connor
but
is.
so Franklin Regional Senior High School, they are out of Murrayville, Pennsylvania. Do you know where that's at?
No.
Pittsburgh. Near
Really?
Pittsburgh, yeah. So
That's cool.
they're in Pittsburgh, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so and kind of cool. But we want to welcome you back to the feed here, and a couple things. So social media, we have some places that you can find us if you want to follow us. We are on Twitter at PM_esports, and Facebook you can just search Penn Manor Esports, and we're on that. And we're also have an Instagram. I'll pop up that information a little bit later so you can kind of see that.
You want to also say about the podcast that you have going
Oh
as
yeah,
well?
did you listen to it?
Yes, I did.
You're one of like our one listener.
Yeah.
No. So we do have a podcast that Nick and I have been doing. So Nick's one of the other coaches here. He's not here today, but he's kind of in charge of making everything run, really. And so we have something called the BTG podcast. It's Behind the Game podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. And what it is kind of a journey of what it's like to coach a high school esports team. We give a lot of information behind it. We're going to be talking about our gear and shoutcasting that we do. You can see our gear kind of is upped a little bit since last season. And we're trying to make this. We have some people in a shoutcasting program for Overwatch. If you guys ever play a game,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many games have we won just because of
2.
now?
You have a 2-1
Crazy.
record and a game that was like unplayed.
Yeah,
So you have a winning
so,
season. Nice.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good right
Nick's
now.
carrying the team.
Yeah, Nick's our best player.
Yeah,
at the moment.
so he's the admin, and so we always joke about him actually carrying and actually winning the games
Yeah,
for
he's
him.
1v6ing every game now.
You know what? It has to be frustrating though, from the perspective of
Oh,
a.
man.
I mean, You know, the fact that you're coming into practice, but the games remain unplayed. We do have the Emerald Foundation, which I guess is something to look forward
Yeah,
to.
that's not this weekend, but
Yeah,
next
next weekend.
So
So
that'll be
we're
pretty
shout
nice.
out to Emerald Foundation and their extravaganza that's coming up. We're extremely pumped about that. We're gonna have a league team there and an Overwatch team, and I think that's gonna be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I hope we do pretty good. I think the team we're gonna have to watch out for the most during that is gonna be Manheim Township's team.
Yeah, imagine that.
Another
that.
go with them.
Yeah, so our good friend Aaron will be there as well. Shout out to Aaron.
Aaron Krause.
Yeah, Aaron Krause is going to be there. And league, I think we're going to have to watch out for Bishop McDevitt. They have a pretty solid league team.
Really?
Yeah, I watched them play in the fall, and I was pretty impressed.
All players that are experienced, or
They seem pretty. They have an experienced coach and some experienced players there. So I think that's pretty solid.
that'll
for
do
us.
pretty good for them then.
Yeah, I think so. I think they will be they'll be good and we'll be good to go. So League of Legends, for those of you tuning in, is a game that is called a MOBA. What's a MOBA? Do you know?
And a MOBA?
Yeah, no, not in. Oh, geez, not that. But a MOBA in a game. Do you know what that means?
No, I have.
So it's a massively online battle arena. Is what MOBA stands for.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know what MMO is?
MMO?
Yeah.
I have it. It's up there.
It's up there. I'm quizzing you on the gaming knowledge.
Yeah,
So
quizzing me on the
massively
gaming knowledge.
multiplayer online game. So, but yeah, so this is called a MOBA, and so basically we're in a battle arena, really, and it's a massively online battle arena, and so we have 5-on-5. It's gonna be kind of like what you saw. They don't really go over the details, but we have 5 people from Penn Manor will be facing off against the Toxic Tantalizers, and making go at it. It's a best of 5 match.
Which is a very long time compared
Right.
to the
So, well, think
Overwatch
about
ones.
how long does an Overwatch game typically take?
Maybe at most, you can say a half an hour-ish.
Really?
A little bit more
that
than
long?
that.
Like most times, I think
they're
they can-
pretty quick.
Like 5-10 minutes, right?
Yeah, some of them can be very quick. That's why I said a half an hour at most.
Yeah. So in league though, what we have is half an hour a game at minimum, typically.
Yeah, those games, they take forever.
Right. So, like, I mean, seriously, when we play a league game, you're bound to, by the time you get in, set up the match, you're looking at 45 minutes, and it's a best of 5.
And I mean, if both teams are on par with each other, skill set ranged, I mean, you could be in there for an hour.
Yeah. So we're hoping not. I'm hoping to get home tonight.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow morning, I'll be here, like, still shoutcasting. No, that'll be terrible.
You might be here till about 9 o'clock if it all goes the way.
Yes. So Clay is one of our shoutcasters. We do have someone that shoutcasts his league. I don't know if you'll see him. Jared Braun, he still shoutcasts. So it depends if they actually swap in. We have plenty of shoutcasters for Overwatch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So-
We have so many people that know how to play the game.
Yeah. So it's a real solid thing here. So you'll see me. I guess I'm the shoutcasting coach. Is that what you would call me?
I guess so.
I don't know. This is the publication, and I'm the ambassador is my full name. My legal name is the
good job.
Esports Ambassador. But we do the
Ambassador.
shoutcasting. I think because of my podcasting background, which is how I conned Nick into doing a podcast. So.
Yeah, I was wondering how you dragged him into doing
No,
that.
it's well, whatever. You know, it is what it is. But it's good things. It's good things happening here. All right, so good. So we're kind of waiting here. We are about 8 minutes out from the start of the game, and we'll be going over some things, I guess, as they launch and talk about the champions they'll be selecting here in just a little bit. I'm going to really quickly go out to a quick Power of Esports thing. Do you want to do yours? The Power of Esports, where we interviewed you about the way esports has impacted you.
Is there anyone on the team right now that has
No,
one?
so there's not actually. So these are not Overwatch specific, although we did them during our Overwatch season.
Play Alyssa's.
Alyssa's? Well, I'll bring out Alyssa's. I have Alyssa's here. Well, she didn't do one. It was Amaya's.
Oh, gotcha.
Was that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so real quickly, we did a series called The Power of Esports, and we did it to kind of promote esports to our board, and it really talks about the way esports can impact people's lives. So this is geared toward Overwatch, but the story is a gaming story and the power that gaming can have in people's lives. Amaya is a member of the Penn Manor Esports junior varsity team. She helped her teammates grow into a team, better understand the game, and earn a playoff spot. Amaya illustrates the power that Penn Manor Esports inclusivity has on students of varied gender and ethnic backgrounds. PM Esports gave her a place to belong.
My position on the team is that I'm an alt, and I usually play tank or healer. I'll switch between whichever one they need me to be. I ended up joining the esports team because I wanted to break out of my shell a bit and meet some new people. I found out one of my friends was doing it, so I knew I'd have someone there to be with me to go through it, and I already played Overwatch.
It positively impacted Amaya's attendance.
It's made me want to come to school. It's been a really good experience. I mean, no one really wants to go to school, in all honesty, but just going to Overwatch, really fun.
Despite this, she faced academic challenges early on.
When I started, my grades were not that great, except exception of one class. And then when I joined Overwatch, my grades started improving because I had motivation to improve my grades so that way I'd be eligible to play Overwatch, which pushed me to do better academically.
In the third week of the season, Amaya became academically ineligible. She talks about how this impacted her and, more importantly, her team.
When I turned out not to be eligible, I felt upset that I couldn't play on the team because at that point our main player was not there. I couldn't play, so that meant our other alt had to play, and I knew that I would be the better option, so I felt upset that I couldn't be there for the team to help them through that game, and we ended up losing. I was upset because I felt like I let them down.
Amaya made sure that the rest of the season and throughout playoffs, she was never academically ineligible again.
I went from being academically eligible to play. I started getting my grades back together. I started doing homework that I didn't want to do because I thought it was pointless, and I started studying more than I usually do, and that just got my grades up a whole lot more, and it was easy once I did it. I was just being a bit lazy on my part, and I became academically eligible, and then I started playing with the team more, getting into their groove of things, knowing how they play as a team together, and then knowing how to play with me, also being an alt, not really playing much with the whole team, but still knowing just in case.
Being a part of a team gave Amaya a sense of belonging, of connectedness to her school community.
It's been a great experience. I love the people I'm with. I'm glad I met them. And now we're all really close as friends, even though we're in different grades. Some people, we haven't even seen each other in the hallway. It's kind of crazy how we came together. I describe the team as crazy, just knowing them personally. They all got their hearts in the right place. They're great together. We're childish a lot, but that's what just makes it even more fun.
This experience made Amaya an advocate for Penn Manor Esports.
I think it'd be a great experience for anyone who'd be interested in playing it. I mean, you get new friends, you learn more about the game, and you get more into it because it's competitive and you're playing against other schools. When a person is competing, you get more motivated to do it. You just want to win, not to be toxic, but you want to win.
Amaya's journey illustrates the power of Penn Manor Esports and its impact in academic excellence and gender and ethnic equity and inclusivity. Clay's skills in Overwatch helped the gold team wend its way into the quarterfinals.
Clay here, Crispy Craig, excellent at waiting. He's got a lot of patience on Reaper's ultimate, and you have to have patience there. You need to choose the right time for all of these moves. Do it at the wrong time, you're easily countered.
Esports has enabled Clay to utilize STEM skills, connect to the greater Penn Manor community, and potentially earn scholarships toward future education.
All right, my name is Clay Craig, and my position on the team is tank as of right now. Tank is the heavy duty kind of a character, the one that stays in the front. It's the ones that protect everyone on the team. It's my favorite position because ever since I got the game, that was the first thing I did. I always liked it since then. I just like standing in front of everyone instead of being in the back, not being able to see. Kind of like real life, I guess.
Esports gave Clay an opportunity to connect to the Penn Manor community in a way he had never done so before.
Being on the Penn Manor Esports team has been a great opportunity. I got to really bond with people that I've never seen ever or talked to. So I mean, that was really nice. Got to make some friendships that wouldn't have probably been made during that time. And we got to really build as a family and just get to know each other and just have fun together.
Clay became an honorary coach of the junior varsity team, honing the teaching skills he is planning to use in the future.
Yeah, so I got the name of Coach Craig from who knows where. I think Mr. Herzog or something gave it to me at one point. The Penn Manor Blue team, which was like the JV kind of team, I helped them out a good bit in the very beginning when they first started, because some of them either didn't have the game on PC or they just didn't play it ever. And that was a great opportunity for me. I got to really help them learn and grow together and got to see them become also like a family and just learn with each other, help each other. It was really good.
For Clay, esports was, through the scholarship opportunities presented, a way for him to afford college.
I want to go to college after high school. It'd be a great opportunity for me. I mostly want to go for a teaching degree, either in tech or social studies kind of stuff. I don't know what grade level I'd want to teach yet, but I want to go for that. Penn Manor Esports program is a great way of getting scholarships. Not too many high schools really do it right now. So I mean, this is something new, something good that we can do to get scholarships for kids that either can't pay for them or maybe not get an opportunity to even go to college because of that. Yeah, I'm really hoping to get a scholarship through this. I mean, it would be really nice. No one in my family has actually went to college, so I mean, it would be really good for me to go. My dad didn't even go through high school all the way. My mom had a kid when she was only 17. So going through this would give me a chance to go to college and do something that no one else in my family did. I think the farthest we went was 2 of my siblings went to Thaddeus Stevens. Lived in a family of 9, so it was pretty big for a while. I have 5 brothers and 4 sisters, so yeah, it was a big family. I'm also the youngest, so I mean, it's kind of weird. It'd be pretty cool to go to college and get the opportunity to do something.
151 colleges are currently part of the National Association of Collegiate Esports and have scholarships ranging from $500 to $8,000. Some schools, such as Harrisburg University, are even offering full tuition scholarships for their esports players. Penn Manor Esports program offers very real opportunities for affordable tertiary education that previously may not have existed for these students. It upholds PM Esports' core value that gives students an opportunity to demonstrate excellence on the pathway to college.
Already.
All right, we are back, and we are about ready to enter the draft. So I'm going to switch into the draft here, and we'll just roll here. All right. Very good, very good. Well, all right, so we have the game here. And it looks like we are now in bands.
So how does this part of it
So
work?
basically what starts here is we have, you'll see 2 teams here. Let me turn this down just a little bit because it's distracting for me. That was weird. It was just loud. So each team gets to pick 3 bands. That's the way it starts. Mm-hmm. And you get to ban champions that you don't want to play against. Really, it's what it comes down to. So they'll ban 3 each, and then typically you begin to select the next 3 champions. And so you see that Penn Manor has 3 bans. Penn Manor's on the left side, Franklin's on the right, and they have banned various champions that they just don't want to play against. This will shift in the second game because they will see what champions that Penn Manor's playing, and they'll try to ban them because they don't want them to play them.
So to the people that don't really know what a champion is, what is that?
So a champion, there are about 150 in League of Legends, so there's a heck of a lot amount.
That's crazy.
They each have different skills and abilities, and your goal is to kind of pick. So Lulu was picked by Final Boss Bowser. So what Franklin will try to do is pick one that can counteract it, because champions all have strengths and weaknesses, and you want to pick one that you can try to dominate the weakness of your opponent. So because Penn Manor picked first, then the next 2 get picked by Franklin, and then now Penn Manor has 2 that will now be picked, and then so on. Once the first 3 are picked, they'll ban another 2 champions. And that's kind of it. So we're just kind of seeing this all play out. Warwick is a traditional jungle. So there's, when you look, what you see in the center of your screen is what's called Summoner's Rift. Any of the wooded areas are part of the jungle. And so the jungle has some hidden areas, and then there's something called a top lane, a mid lane, and a bot lane. And so you'll see like that kind of, I guess I can do my cursor. Well, my cursor doesn't move here, so you can't see it. But you'll see that kind of play on. And so you'll see these different roles. Warwick is definitely a jungler, though. Someone that's going in the jungle. The purpose of jungle is to try and assist with what they call the laning phase, the people doing lanes. So we are now in the banning phase, continuing to do the banning.
So who are we gonna see most likely play in each lane, top and bottom as well?
Well, so you're going to see Warwick play jungle. Kalista, Pretty Huntress, is typically a mid laner, so you're going to see him play mid lane. He's going up, it looks like, against Senna, that there. And then Hecarim is also, it looks like, going to be the jungler for the opposing team. Final Wells Bowser, I'm guessing, is going to be top. Now, I'm not sure if that's where the comp actually took them. But we're going to find out. Akuro is typically a bot laner, and Ashe typically does support unless they switch that up. So I'm guessing that Lulu's going to play top, and we're going to see Akiraru actually play. Is that the way you say it? Akiraru? That's the way I would say it. But Akiraru. Yeah, say that.
Yeah,
Akira.
like
I'm just going to say Akira and be done with it.
Yeah.
But he's going to play mostly the ADC, which is the attack, damage, carry, is what the ADC stands for. So he attacks, damage, and carry, and the support actually tries to support him up. And so he's playing Annie typically as the ADC. So nothing real surprising here.
Now, how does that work with characters that are on? Is there a difference between the characters that go on different lanes?
Yeah, they're different. They have different strengths. You would not play like Darius, the support doesn't necessarily wouldn't be able to carry a lane, or like you wouldn't put him as a mid lane because of their skills and abilities don't lend themselves to that. So it looks like we have chosen our different characters, and this seems to be the lineup here. Any of the characters you want to know something about?
Yeah.
So you'll see that what they did is actually shifted characters around. So they have about 40 seconds here to actually change. So Final Boss Bowser actually has taken Darius, but they chose Lulu first because they wanted him, because they had first selection. So whoever goes first gets to choose a character, and then you can shift these characters into different positions. So Lulu's actually being played by Ashe as a support. And then Darius is going to kind of hold top lane, is my guess. And going against Mordekaiser, I guess is the way you say the name, and that's going to be handling there at the top. So we'll see how they all do it. You'll also notice that there's some icons there beside the faces. Darius, for example, has Flash and Ignite. Flash allows you to jump ahead quickly in the character. Ignite allows you to put some extreme damage immediately on that character when you're attacking. Gives you a little bit extra burst damage. The opposition, Mordekaiser, actually has a teleport, which allows him to teleport anywhere in the map to anywhere else in the map for all intents and purposes. There are some limitations to it.
What's the spectator delay?
So the spectator delay, that's great. So there is a 3-minute delay automatically by the by League of Legends when you spectate your 3 minutes.
Really?
And then NASA, the organization, which we didn't talk about, but NASA actually requires a 2-minute delay above that. And they do that, of course, to just keep teams from feeding information to themselves.
Yeah.
And so it makes a lot of sense. So our team is actually loading into the game right now, and we're kind of just waiting here in a draft mode as we kind of wait to see what happens. So NASA, by the way, is a fantastic organization.
Oh, they're amazing.
We had a great experience with them doing Overwatch in the spring, and now we're doing
very good organization.
Yeah.
They're a lot better than some of the ones.
Yeah, so we're a bit frustrated with Overwatch right now. I won't mention names, but there's a organization that we are with that it's been pairing us up with teams from other time zones, and
doesn't work out.
And the communication has been less than then
worse.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. So
Yeah, I love getting a text at 4 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
talking about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, not good.
no, it's not great. So we are about a minute away from entering the game to find out how this first game is going to go for Penn Manor. This is Penn Manor's first ever League of Legends game. And
Yeah,
so
I bet
we are
they're a little excited. Some of the people that haven't played it all yet are probably a little nervous about it.
Oh, I would be playing your first official game, and so we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, hopefully they do good. And
Yeah, we're hoping for
if
the
we-
best
if
here.
we get lucky, maybe they'll go through a little bit quicker and get some quick wins.
Yeah, you just don't want to be here till 6 o'clock. Well, you aren't gonna be here till 6 o'clock anyways.
I got things to do.
Yeah, no. So, but we haven't been here for the first game or so, and then we'll kind of see how it goes.
So essentially, each team, since it's best out of 5, they could both get.
They could both win 2 and take it to a 5th match.
Yeah. So, which is crazy, ridiculous.
It is crazy. It is crazy. You know, even League of Legends professional level, when you're playing championships, it's I think it is best of 5, but only in the championship level. Like you're watching, like during the regular season, they're playing like 1-game matches.
Really?
And then and so then they calculate a win-loss ratio, but it's playing like various teams, and you might play like 1 or 2 games a day. It might even be just 1 game a day. All right. So we're entering into the match now proper. You're going to see the load screen, and we'll get a feel for what levels the people are at here as we go. So let's take a look here. You can see the different. So here's I guess I do. There we go. So you'll see here. I don't want to do that. You'll see here that these are the characters that we are playing. So you'll see that the levels are listed at the top of how long really they've played. It doesn't mean they're playing these characters excellently. Although you'll see with Ash and Final Boss Bowser, if you look here, you'll see that they have these icons here. This indicates a sense of mastery on it. And you'll see that the opposition does have some high-level players or people that have played quite a bit.
It looks like it.
Yeah, so they do have a challenge played out. But it's important to know that we can't count out Akira, because Akira is coming from Smite, which is a MOBA, right? And it plays very similar to League, and so he does bring with him a level of expertise. And it's less about what level you're at and more about how well you play as
And
a team.
knowledgeable about how the game is, how it's played. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
There's tons of things that go in there than just level.
So we are just seconds away from entering Summoner's Rift, and we will see how Penn Manor holds their own against their very first ever League of Legends game.
Now, can we hear some about like the people and who they're playing?
Yeah,
Like the
absolutely. Let me
names
get
of the
this set
people?
up. I want to set up this real quick here. We're going to do this. We want the scoreboard, and I don't need the time controls. And we'll put objective timers there. All right. That should be it. So you should see us. All right. So you're viewing the red it looks like the red team is going to be the Toxics. What are they called? The Toxic Tantalizers. And so we're focused on them, but we'll real quickly get to Penn Manor here. You'll see Penn Manor is playing top. That's Final Boss Bowser is top as he enters the top lane. And you can see that this, of course, is Warwick is a jungler. Typically, they do leash, and you'll see some people coming to help the jungler out. And they do that because the jungler gets all his levels from fighting these jungle creatures, right? So, and he's doing the blue. It looks like he's playing like the blue sentinels.
So
kind of around.
what's the strategy thinking of the enemy team all going to one spot pretty much when they started off?
Well, so they want to do a quick gank because first kill gives like an advantage gold wise, and so sometimes they'll group up to kind of take it. And so you'll see that we're using what's called a directed camera, and this will go where the action is. And so if it's detecting action from Penn Manor, it'll kind of focus there. If it's detecting action from the Toxic Titans, it's going to focus there. But they're all waiting. So you'll see here the red buff, the red Brambleback being attacked here. And let me just turn that sound down a little bit. kind of loud here. Sometimes it's hard to get the level of sounds here that we have working here.
what were we seeing what is their name?
So the red Brambleback, we were just seeing the Toxic Titans take it down. They get a buff, number one, and the jungler gets his levels from taking down the creatures in the jungle. All right, so you'll see that this guy's trying to come behind him, but he really shouldn't be coming in against Final Boss because you'll see he's taking down health and very little damage has been done to the Final Boss Bowser there. The same way with these people, they're trying to kind of come in around, cut them off from the minions, being protected by these little creatures here. They're called minions here. If you can, as many times you want to hang behind them because they give you a sense of protection in the game as you're playing. And so you'll see that the red team's kind of coming out in front of their minions because they're trying to put some pressure onto the blue. And so you'll see that there's some rooting going on, but kind of some back and forth here that's being exchanged here. And it's kind of exchanging damage, and it's pretty well straightforward. Pretty Huntress in the center lane there. You saw putting some pressure onto the red laner as well. Julie and Jeriel, who are playing Akiro and Ashe, holding their own and kind of keeping everyone in the center between the towers. The towers, again, the objective is to be the first one to take the towers. Towers give you gold, and there are plates you can kind of knock down for that. And you'll see there Blue kind of taking a monster there real briefly. That it kind of flashes pretty quickly between, so you kind of have to be aware of what's going on. You can control the cameras manually if it's a little bit hard. You'll see Final Boss Bowser has pushed back the champion to his turret. Let's take a look real quickly with that there. So you see Final Boss up there kind of putting some pressure on there and keeping wide. You'll see that a dangerous time for Pretty Huntress there. He's kind of coming back to the tower because he's low health. Probably will be coming back. First blood has yet to be drawn at this point.
Now, is this a bad thing for Pretty Huntress to be staying up where he is at the moment?
He's low in health, and it's if I were playing it, I might, because he's carrying the lane, I might almost recall and get full health. But the other thing, he wants to make sure he has some minions in there that can provide some protection for his tower, because there's this whole dance between trying to protect your tower, not letting the enemy mid laner in that case actually get some gold by attacking the tower, because the idea is to earn gold, to get items, to level up, to gain a better strategy. So you'll see that Ashe putting some pretty heavy damage here on I think the ADC of the other team, and this is problematic for the other team at least, because they obviously don't want to have that damage on them.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are we seeing with the problem with him being up where he's at on the enemy side?
There's no problem, because he has minions up there that are really kind of protecting him, that he can dodge behind. If anything, it's more dangerous right now for the unmasked card, I guess it is, because of how low health he is. Now, might be dangerous here. He manages to get out, but he has very little health, and he's going down first blood, and he was taken because whatever attack was put onto him. Put that, as you'll see right
doing
away.
Kind of like a bleed damage.
Yeah, if you look at the very top of the screen, you'll see they have a 1,000K lead, and that's a lot for early game, because he kind of pushed himself out. And you'll see the jungler now kind of going into the mid lane to kind of take over the spot right there as he plays. We're still focusing here on the bot lane a little bit. And the bot lane seems to be going back and forth, and there seems to be some exchanges. If anything, a little bit lower health on the low side. Top lane seems to be holding, and so it's really there, the top lane. This is dangerous. You'll see that low, and
very
it's
low. There they go.
And there we go. So it's now an even kill, and this kind of brings them up. The difference probably being the fact that the other team got first kill, and that gives them a slight gold advantage. But the gold, for all intents and purposes, is pretty even across the board.
So now, say we got another kill on them. Would that make us go above them?
Yeah.
When it comes to,
so you'll see there's a dragon. There's people trying to steal the dragon here. Dragons, bringing down dragons give you some buffs. He flashes away, trying to get away, but this is not good for Akira. I don't know that he's down, and there's not much he can do about it. I think the dragon kind of gets lost here, but let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with the dragon. They're going to try and steal the buff here. We're going to know I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Red team has slain the dragon. There wasn't much that they could do with it.
Oh, looks like some of our team might go down. Maybe
They might.
not.
We might, but
yeah.
they do. And this is the first team fight. We see that they're being routed. Penn Manor is being routed. We see 1, 2, 3 people down in Penn Manor. So was not a good team fight for Penn Manor. So good inside, and you'll see that fight, the acquisition of that dragon, has given them now a 3K gold lead, and that's a deficit that Penn Manor is going to have to recover from.
Is there other things you can kill in the jungle that do other special
Yeah,
kind of things
and
with it?
technically the dragons, and there's a rift herald you'll see that will also give money. They technically are in the river and not the jungle. The jungle is, so they're technically part of the river. You'll see that because of that, because Pretty Huntress is now a little bit low, you'll see that the levels begin to become uneven here. For example, the jungler for their team you see as a 1-level lead on the jungle for ours. And I'm trying to look here. You'll see that Akira now down a level in the bot lane as the ADC, as well as the healer, the support. So again, not insurmountable. Can they come back from this? Absolutely. They can absolutely come back. But they do have to kind of be careful as they're playing it. The goal, by the way, if you look down here on the bottom screen here, let me see if I can get my mouse over here. If you look down here at these numbers here, these are the numbers you're paying attention to. You want them to be up over 100. And that shows, yeah. So the goal is that by the end game or mid to late game, you want to be up over 100 as far as, and that indicates how much you farm. They call it the creep score, and how you want your creep score to be up over 100. So the fact that we have, Final Boss Bowser's up there over 60 is good. He has one of the highest creep scores here.
So for people that don't really know, what is farming?
So farming is you just continuing to take out the minions and to get gold here. This could be dangerous for Cannon, who can't seem to get out of it. And this is another kill. And every kill advances the gold for them. Farming, though, is those minions in your lane, you continue to kill them in order to try to get more and more gold. So it's not good for Akira. Yeah, he's down. So Penn Manor kind of getting routed right here. So you see that one team fight really gave them a gold advantage, and now it's not looking really strong for Penn Manor.
Now, some characters are stronger than other ones, of course.
Yeah.
Now, does that also go with skill level as well?
So your ability to play that character does matter. Everyone starts out the game on an equal playing field.
Yeah.
You all start at level 1, and how you build the characters and how fast you can gain gold is important. Now, this is an ability that you see from Pretty Huntress, where he's able to do damage after he dies. And it's one of the things there. But you'll see that Penn Manor has 2 people that are everyone's back in the game. But this is bad. As of yet, no tower's been taken, but there's a lot of pressure being put on the towers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very large gold difference now of 7,000.
Yeah, it's almost 7,000,
Yeah.
and that's a deficit that Penn Manor is going to struggle to rise up from. And it's fair to say that Penn Manor is a young team. We have 2 real experienced players on it, and then one that's
Both
bringing
seniors.
some experience. Both seniors,
Are
yeah.
they? Yeah.
All 3 of our most
Oh, yeah.
experienced.
Jeriel's also.
We have a very young team that's up and coming in the league and the things.
Which the ones that you have now have what 2 years, I think.
The ones that are experienced.
Yeah. The experienced ones are leaving, and then you got
the new ones have been playing at. Jared's been playing, for example, about a year.
Yeah, we got juniors, sophomores.
Juniors, yeah.
Is there any?
There's no freshmen.
No freshmen.
No
this
freshmen.
time around. Maybe we'll get lucky and get some freshmen playing next year.
So you see that final boss is trying to hold his own. It's hard because he again there's a level disparity
Yeah,
now
the other
between
team's
the two.
getting just like a large difference in pretty much everything right now.
Yeah,
and
so if
it's just making it harder for them to be able to
if you
even
look
go
over
up
here,
now
you'll
because
see
of
the
that.
levels listed here, like 9, 8, 9, and over here you'll see that this is 8. Over here is level 6, and so yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tougher for the Penn Manor team to be able to get up from this. and
Hey, you
come
know what?
back.
They'll
it,
do
it
the
can
best they
definitely
can,
happen.
right? When it becomes insurmountable, once it gets to the base, you begin to say, well, maybe does a team surrender at that point? Maybe at this point. But we'll see. They're still holding their own. How many minutes? We're 12 minutes into the game. As of yet, no tower has been taken, so that's a good sign. They're holding their towers well for the most part. And they're still fighting back. And probably the best you can do is kind of farm here. You'll see them try coming in here for a gank, and maybe even try. They're actually attempting their second dragon, and red team has slain the dragon. Now, not a big deal at this point, but Clay, once they get 4 dragon, that gives them a distinct advantage. They get a
Which
buff.
is?
They get a buff. Whatever dragon they slay, there is a mountain. So, like, there are like 4 different dragons that they can do. There's a cloud dragon, an infernal dragon, a mountain, an ocean. And depending which one that 4th one is, they get a nice buff off of that gives them an advantage either in healing or attack damage and so on. And so right now you'll see if I bring my cursor up
with
here.
this game, there's definitely a lot more strategy to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, other than like
Yeah,
Overwatch, where it's just
definitely
mosh pits the whole
there
time.
there is a reaction skill that Overwatch demands. That your quick reflexes, you got to be much quicker. But you have that in League. But up here where my
little
cursor is, you'll see that there's 2 icons here. When they get the 4th icon, it becomes
it's gonna
real
make
tough.
it
It's
really hard for the other team.
real tough for Penn Manor to kind of come back from.
Now, when Austin, it was Austin that died earlier. He
Yeah.
summoned something when he died. Is there other things in this that summon when other things happen?
There are some other characters that summon another character, like when you die. Like it's kind of like you die, but then like your spirit, like revenge in your soul
Is
type
there
of
any
thing.
like big things that can happen like that?
So there is the Rift Herald. You can see the red up there at the top. Let me bring the cursor up to there so you can see it. So right here, we can see the same taking the Rift Herald. Now, when they take that, that will probably allow them to take first tower. In fact, they have slain the first turret already. So we see that. Actually, there's 2 turrets that they've taken at this point, and you'll see that marked up here on your screen. Well, this Rift Herald, what sometimes it's called Shelly in the game, when they release it, will knock down a tower's health to halfway. And so it can give them a huge gold advantage, number 1, a huge XP, but also can just take down a tower.
Now, is there anything that stays longer than that, or is that it?
No, it's there are a lot of things to talk about in this game, Clay. But so you'll see right now that the top tower is low here. They could drop the Rift Herald and take the rest, but I think they're going to try and maybe hold that. So here you'll see they summoned the Rift Herald. They're going to use it to take down what's the mid tower there, and that they've just taken that down. And my guess is they're going to use it to also do damage. And this one here, see the Rift Herald still alive, still taking damage down because there's no one there to really protect it. Now the Rift Herald's taken down, but they've gotten 2 towers off of this, and they're now doing the inhibitor. So League of Legends, by the way, you have to do things in sequence. You have to do the outside towers, the inner towers, the inhibitor towers, and then the inhibitor themselves. And the goal, ultimately, Clay, is to get down here to this spot, to these 2 inhibitors that are protecting this Nexus.
Gotcha.
Once you take the Nexus, you win the game. And so that's kind of the end goal. And right now, Penn Manor is just trying to keep the damage from happening to their outer lane
it's
inhibitors.
So hard. It's going to be really hard at this point for them.
The other team has a 12K lead in gold, and I've rarely seen a team come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, probably 1 in a million kind of a thing. It's going to be really hard for them to get back with this. So
Yeah, not saying it's impossible, but they're going to do the best they can with 16 minutes in. My guess is we're looking at about a 20-minute game here.
Level difference, final boss Bowser is about the only one that's
that's somewhat close.
Yeah.
And even in the top lane where he was playing, there's a 2-level difference, and
Yeah.
that equates to damage. Like you just can't do as much damage as someone that is 2 levels above you. Penn Manor trying to stick
so much harder
together
for people.
and trying to do this team, but they're really kind of trying to hold together here as a team. But it's really going to be tough for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you'll see now we're in the base, and you'll see them coming into the base. They might try. You'll see them trying to. They're recalling here, or they aren't recalling. They actually summoned in. They're going to try to take this top tower, and try and hold them off. But they're kind of spread at this point. We'll see what happens. It looks like they might go for a 3rd dragon here, but we'll see what happens here. The 3rd dragon has spawned, and so you'll see the red team kind of drifting back to kind of come and take this dragon. That will give them an advantage here in just a second. But Penn Manor really has nothing to answer it. They can't come in and even take that. All they can do is defend their base.
The enemy team's doing tons of damage now. The
Yeah.
output's crazy.
So they're coming in. This might be the final push where they come into the base, and we'll see what happens here in just a second. Penn Manor trying to hold. Yeah, trying to hold. They're in a good position for that. But the other team, it looks like what Penn Manor just did there is they surrendered the game. There was like no way they could win with that amount of gold. I mean, look there, Clay. It's almost a 15K difference.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so when you go back, we're going to see the exit screen here in just a second. You'll see the kills here is this middle column, or I guess it's really this first column here is kills. These are the death. You'll see that Penn Manor got exactly 1 kill in that game. And so that says something. This last column is assists, and this middle column is times they've died. And you'll see that the other team had exactly 1 death.
Now they're going to go into a next game. Do you think there's going to be some stuff that they're going to try to change up this time around?
I think so.
Character-wise, that they'll change to try to...
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if they go into a new...
It looks like we're going to get somebody different playing this time around.
Yeah,
switch out.
They might, just for the experience of it. So, yeah. So, what was your impression of that, just watching it? We're in camera, just so you know.
There was tons of stuff going on. The game, my impression is there's a lot of strategy to it. You got to be coordinated with your team. You got to figure out what the enemy team's doing and how to do it better than them. The beginning of the game looks like the whole game matters, but it looks like you got to really crunch down on the beginning of the game and be able to do good at that part. Because after that first kill that the enemy team got, they got an advantage of it, and then they used that advantage against them and kept going.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then they had the advantage the whole game.
Yeah, and it was really tough for them to kind of come back out of that and to recover from that. No doubt we're watching a team that has experience and has played together maybe longer than Penn Manor has. You saw some really good coordination.
They all look very experienced with what they're doing. There was maybe one person that didn't know, wasn't super high level in it, of course, but they seemed like they all knew what they were doing with it.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, we're going to be back here just momentarily, and then we'll continue with our second game.
Out of frame.
Yeah, you are. You can slide into frame here.
There we are.
So with me is joining Jared Braun. Welcome, Jared.
Hello, nice to be here.
Yeah, so Jared's one of our League of Legends players, and he's joining us after the first game. So tell me a little bit about the first game.
Well, it was very interesting because at the start it was really nice, but eventually the ball just wouldn't stop rolling for the enemy team.
It's one of the challenges with league is how do you stop when the other team begins to gain gold. You almost have to stop them. That's a very difficult
It's very
thing.
hard.
Yeah, very hard. And the other team just really had some good leverage, played well together, and there's really not a lot there that we can
Do about it.
Yeah, so it is. So let's jump into the actual game and see what we're seeing here. So here we're at. You see, we're in the banning phase here, and anything surprising in the way they're banning?
So far, not really. We did see. It looks like they're keeping the same ban phase as last time, except with some slight changes after the first match to more counter the strengths of the enemy team. And the same thing's going on with blue team here.
Right.
Franklin Regional. They're banning with I don't know, I'm trying to blank here. With Final Boss Bowser going into jungle now. They're switching up to ban like the character he most plays down there.
Right. But then, it's hard to know that. But you'll see the team. So the enemy team. So the toxic tantalizers have their 3 bans, and Penn Manor gets their bans, and you'll see that the enemy team now picking first here, which gives them first pick. We had first pick last time, and it's kind of set up that way. So I believe we're seeing Senna again.
Senna, yeah.
Which is what we saw last time. And we have Jin being here. It's important to note that while Massacre's picking Jin first, it doesn't mean he's going to play Jin.
No, it does not. There is, in a small phase after everyone selects, that you can switch heroes.
Right. And this actually allows you to, as a team, to choose heroes that you're passionate about, that you're worried you're going to lose. Yeah. And we'll go from that.
I will say one interesting is the Lux coming in. As far as I've seen, we have not had Lux at all.
Yeah, well, you're gonna see the Final Boss Bowser kind of shaking things up.
Well,
if anyone can shake things up, it's Final Boss.
We'll see what happens with it because we do not know for a fact he is. We know he's playing jungle, but Lux is more of a laner though, so that's a very interesting thing.
Right. So there's a good chance of somewhat, and actually Lux comes on as more support. Wouldn't you say? Is that right?
So, yeah, a little bit with.
So I bet that he's picking him for Ash. Ash is going to end up with Lux.
I don't know. Lux is not very a hard healer. You most likely pick someone who can heal a lot better for support.
We're going to find out here. So anything about we see Warwick obviously being the jungle here.
Yes.
And so that seems to be what's being played here in the in this phase. So
yeah, we'll see what goes on. We'll see.
Yeah. So we are now in the next phase of banning. Yes. That is going to have, and again with Franklin High School taking first pad here, are in the second round. We get 2 more bans, and then we get final picks, and we'll kind of see how they go.
I must say I will say Franklin Regional is changing up a bit. Last year makes sense with the Warwick when they banned the Heckrim, but there are other weird things with the Penn Manor because Zoe, Pretty Huntress has played her a good amount, but most of the time we've been doing Annie. Haven't seen Lux at all, so it's weird. And with the bans, we are switching it up so that's they take out some of the most prominent players, like the jungler and the mid laner from last match.
Right. So it's kind of like point counterpoint, and games can be won and lost in this picking and banning phase.
Yes.
But again, if you know how to play the characters, you really, as a player, should know multiple characters. So I imagine you have a handful that you constantly go to.
Most of the time. For most people, yes, that is true. Right. See what happens here, though. But with jungler, there's not as many people, and each has very interesting mechanics. We shall see how it ends up. The Darius for Jeriel. See what happens. Gotta look at the guides.
Yeah, so I have a guide in front of me that I use to kind of help me and navigate some of the heroes, the weaknesses. And it's hard, again, to know until final selection happens who's going to end up with what character, and that's going to be kind of essential here. So, but nonetheless, it's going to be an exciting game coming in. Penn Manor is going to be looking for a little bit of revenge after the first game.
We shall see what happens, though. They are going Lux for support.
Yeah, Lux is typically played as support. Jin being played as the ADC here. Zoe being played kind of as a mid laner here. No really surprise there. And Darius being a top laner.
Yes.
And Darius is a good, solid top laner. And again with one of our newest players, Owen, who's going to be playing him here, and then Sedwani being played in the jungle.
I've never even seen that hero play.
Well, so you will be
be
seeing that hero play now, and we will see how Sedwani does here. And very good. Let's go. Let's look up a little bit about Sedwani here as we get into the match. We'll have a little bit of delay here before we get in, but so you'll see that Sedwani tends to be a bit weak against Warwick. So we'll see how that actually plays on, but is strong against some of the other characters.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, it's not really strong against any of the characters that they are using on your team. It's very interesting.
So it's just a pick that maybe it's a jungler he felt comfortable with.
Yeah, once they
But
we will see what happens. You see normal setups with the teleports for the top lanes.
Yep.
All the ignites, the heals. Although there is one thing is that there's only one ignite for Penn Manor, whereas for Franklin they have two with the mid laner and support using ignite for them. We'll see what happens here.
All right, so we have the delay. They are entering the game right now.
If not already in it.
Yeah, they might even be in it. So as we're looking at the screen here, what's important for Penn Manor in this game in order to counteract what they saw the first game?
One main thing is they have to not let Franklin get dragons and the Rift Herald all the time. That is a main thing we have to stop. They have to stop to be able to succeed in this.
Right, so they have that. I think the other thing is we got to make sure to play a bit more conservative. I mean, once Pretty Huntress died in the mid lane last game, he was just a bit far out and a bit low of health. He should have recalled, maybe come back in a little bit more. That would have given him a little bit more health, made him harder to kill. He can't take as much risk. I know there's a bit of impatience, but League of Legends is a game of patience, of knowing when to do things and when not to do things.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
And we'll see. We are a minute out from joining the game here, and so we're quite excited about that as well. So we'll see how Penn Manor does this time. But certainly the Rift Herald and certainly the Dragons were things that just sprouted out. But really, before they even took them, they had already a significant gold.
Yeah.
You guys were behind quite a bit in gold before that.
Gold and leveling. For some areas, like for mid, for example, it was almost 3 levels behind.
So when you die in a lane, it's not just you have to wait to spawn. It's the fact that you are not leveling when you're dead.
Oh, no.
And so because of that, you begin to lose level experiences. And when the other team gains those levels, that gives them better abilities. It gives them more power, more health, more mana, and a ton of other things that you just don't want to be coming back against.
Yeah, so that is definitely one huge thing we got to work on.
Yeah.
It's also the fact, I noticed last game with the ganks we were doing, we didn't really do any, because we didn't really have a chance, because once we were ready, they were already several levels higher that we would need, like 3 people.
And you were playing jungle, and that's hard.
Yes.
It's hard to gank someone that's 2 or 3 levels above you.
Even with a teammate, jungler is usually the first one in when it comes to a gank. It is, and you have like a second or two, which is one-on-one, and if they're like 2 levels ahead of you, you can die so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we are about ready to head in the game here. Let's take a look. We saw the levels the last time here, but what I'd like to do is take a look at the characters and see what their experience is playing them. All right, so here's the opposing team. You'll see that the 3 of them have had a decent amount of experience playing these, and you'll see that for us, really only one has had any significant experience, and that is actually the Lux player. The rest are locked, and when it says mastery locks, it just means that they haven't played them a lot. Right? Is that kind of where we're at?
I don't really know how the mastery system works.
Yeah, but that's kind of how that goes here. So we are just seconds away from entering the game here, and we are now in game. Let me go ahead and set up the spectator mode so we can see kind of the things I want to see. I kind of typically do this. We'll see the objective timers, and that should be good. So here we're at. We have entered Summoner's Rift. You see Penn Manor spawning in, and you saw, of course, the other team spawn in there just a moment ago. All right.
Let's see how this can do. I will say one thing now is with Jeriel being able to play Jhin. He is the main one.
Was Jhin banned the last time?
No, the other team took Jhin and banned Misfortune.
Oh,
which are two of the main ones, and
And
they're
two-
all on the buff.
Yep. So they are all in the buff, right?
Yes, I feel like this is a bit of a counter to what happened last match with the invasion very early on.
Right. So we'll see. You'll see the blue team kind of waiting around down there, just wanting to say. You'll see that wards have been placed up in the top lane, granting them vision. But blue is kind of all hanging out on this creature to help the jungler kind of get a good level to begin.
Well, it's not only that. If an invasion happens again, it can be very bad, especially
Right.
early on.
Right. And the last thing you want to do is die early.
Oh yes, very last. Yeah, we'll see what does happen if they invade again as the buffs come up.
So moments away from having the red brambleback kind of spawn here. That'll grant Final Boss Bowser a red buff, and also grant him probably his first level, because the jungler levels up from the creatures in that jungle.
There is no invasion, which I'm a little surprised about.
Yeah, no invasion. You'll see mid laner there, kind of Austin kind of pushing mid lane a little bit.
One other thing is he has a lot more range this time.
With the character he's playing, so that may give him
a bit more.
Yeah, he doesn't have to get quite in as close, which was a little bit problematic for him.
I will say one thing with top lane. In the past, I don't know, I'm trying to blank the name. Owen has had some trouble with facing the Mordekaiserers.
Right, so we'll see here. It was certainly a weak point for him. We'll focus here in the bot lane, some action happening in the mid lane here, but all in all, just an exchange of farming minions again, taking out the minions for gold, and you'll see Akira being brought down to about half health there, but finding refuge and safety in the tower. It looks like Pretty Huntress is at his second level. They're both 2 levels up, which is good, and with the levels seem to be kind of equal at this point. We'll see that the health for Akira and Ash is kind of low here, but they do manage to get their second level to kind of hold their own.
Ooh, looks like there might be a gank incoming from the jungler.
Some jungler, so Final Boss Bowser kind of tried to jank, but his health is brought down dangerously low.
Ooh.
And we'll see that.
Pretty Huntress getting really
some health issues on the end of Penn Manor, but we'll see what happens here as we're just going here. Gold's still kind of even, although the slight gold lead onto the blue team, and that obviously gives them just a slight bit of an advantage here, but it's early, and it just has to do more with farming. No one's taken first blood yet. No one's taken first tower, and so the teams are practically mid.
Something at mid. I wish the camera would switch up there a bit.
So we can switch up to mid here. Whoops, sorry about that.
Yeah.
And you'll see that. But there's still level 4 Pretty Huntress. He's doing well as far as holding his own as far as levels go.
Well, they're even levels, so we'll see.
Yep, so we'll see the bot lane actually having more trouble with that, holding it. We'll see a gank incoming for Massacre, and can he outdo the gank? He probably...
he might be able to get up there.
We'll see. Oh, he's being drawn.
But he flashes out.
Flashes away, and that's good for him. And plus, Final Boss Bowser was up there to kind of give him some health.
The thing was, Final Boss Bowser was a little bit low on health.
Right. You'll see that at this point, it looks like champions are pretty much even. The summoners are pretty much even. Yep. Again, gold within 1,000K of each other, and no kills. It has to do basically with farming and maybe getting some from creatures in the jungle that may have made that difference.
Once again, Pretty Huntress with that. Getting trapped in there.
But manages to make him use his flash away, and that's always, if you can make someone use their flash, it's always good.
I'll say one bad thing with having no real healer on bottom lane is that Warwick sign above Jeriel, that is going to be very hard to get out of.
Right.
Especially with, nearly got this, Austin nearly getting the sleep off on the middle.
You'll see Massacre kind of holding his own there at the top, which isn't bad.
It's very good. And he is one level below, but they are pretty even.
Yeah, again, dead even right now.
Yeah, you're good. One other thing I'm noticing is the Warwick is not running the Predator rune set, which is a bit more interesting because that basically gives a active speed boost to Boots for the jungler.
Yeah, so that's good. You'll see that they are, looks like the Warwick's kind of hanging around the dragon, waiting for the first dragon to spawn.
So Did first dragon is spawning, so he might be going for that now.
Yeah, so we can look and see a little bit of what and first dragon has spawned, and he's going to try and take that first dragon. And it doesn't look like Penn Manor is going to even contest the taking of that first dragon.
Oh, final spell. Nope, he turns the wrong way. I don't even think they know about it.
They probably don't. They don't have a ward there kind of sitting in.
Sadly.
And so it looks like it's going to be taken by
Franklin.
by Franklin without any contesting. So blue team has taken the first dragon, and you'll see the icon show up here at the top indicating that the mountain dragon, which has given them a +6 to armor and magic resistance. So that's good for them. Just a little bit of an advantage here, but obviously pushes the gold lead to a solid 1K lead over Penn Manor.
Sadly.
Yeah, sadly. And the gold lead may not seem like much in the short run, but it really adds up, as you saw in the last game.
Let's see what we can do here.
Yep. So you see that continued pressure from Penn Manor. Not a lot of damage. Penn Manor is doing a really good job protecting the towers, but it is hard. It seems like they are being pushed back at least somewhat in this.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's no first blood yet.
That is true. We're 6 minutes in without first blood.
Yeah.
Maybe Final Boss Bowser is going to try and make that come.
Him?
Yep. So time they're
I
going to
get
try
it.
get. They're going to get
First blood to Penn Manor. Let's go.
First blood to Penn Manor.
Here we are.
Yep. And they try to respond up here with Massacre, but that actually it doesn't even the gold lead, but it puts it a little bit closer within range.
Maybe one or two more kills, and that could very well almost completely nullify the goal lead.
Right. So Owen's playing fairly conservative, which is what he should do because, again, Owen's pretty new to the game and playing against seemingly some higher experience.
Even with last game, you saw Final Boss Bowser up there against the Mordekaiser on Darius, and you saw how easily it was to die to that one.
Right. Right. Penn Manor putting some pressure in the bot lane, pushing the blue back to the tower, and that's good for Penn Manor, and we'll see. It's hard to know where you'll see the top lane there, and you'll see the bot lane. You'll see the people there in bot lane kind of continuing to fight back and forth. Again, not a very close. It's almost negligible when you look at the gold. There's not even a 1K. It's 500 gold lead.
Kill there for Franklin.
Almost, but he managed to get away and kind of hold. It's important that no one from Penn Manor kind of overstep their bounds here.
No, that's very
They're
important.
playing a very good game.
That might not be the good thing.
So Massacre is going to try and get out of there.
Looks like
I don't know. Does he have flash? Doesn't look like he has flash, and he doesn't. And why does he even go back in? And he's done. So it evens up.
Yeah, if he had been able to make back Terry,
I'm not sure why he hesitated there. Maybe was he stunned?
I'm not sure.
I didn't see a stun on him, but hard to know.
Might have just been a misclick, honestly.
Right? Yeah, it could. Sometimes it happens. Again, some pressure being put on the tower. We see some plates being taken, which adds to the gold. But again, no tower really in danger of falling quite yet.
Yes, but the main thing is it is almost a 2K gold lead for Franklin.
Right, and that's not good for Penn Manor when you come down to it. You'll see if you look down at the bottom of the screen that the itemization, you'll see that there's a lot more items and a lot more. And you'll also see the creep score that this number right here, that Franklin has creep scores much higher, and that doesn't show your goal is to have up over 100, right, Jared?
Oh yes, very.
And so
as much as you can.
Yeah, so that death by Owen does put it. You'll see now that there's a 2-level difference between the characters.
But there's Party Huntress.
Yeah.
Getting hit by the center.
Yeah, but again, is there by Final Boss Bowser kind of trying to come in and rescue
and
putting.
Him.
Yeah,
but then comes two more.
Yep, so you have to pay attention to the team. Yeah, fall back. So not much of a team fight here, but just kind of each kind of protecting their own. It could. It could. There's certainly enough pressure coming in from the healing, enough pressure coming in from the bot lane and the jungle, Penn Manor's jungle, that kind of does it. You'll see Pretty Huntress really should recall there. He's barely any health there. He should just kind of port back and be done. Final Boss Bowser putting some pressure on. You'll see the Final Boss Bowser, of course, pretty even with the other jungler.
But he's rooted in the tower.
He's rooted, and
very close.
Yep, it is close, and you'll see.
Oh, there
Sonic Boom takes down Final Boss Bowser in what would look to be a really small team fight here.
That's what looks. Oscar better get out of there.
Yeah, I think that this might be another kill for him. Look at them with barely any there.
Why did he turn back?
And I'm not sure why he turned back there.
The thing is, he did have flash up.
He did have flash. He could have flashed away, but sometimes when you're getting chased, it's the last thing you're thinking of. And one of the hardest things for League of Legends, and you can attest for this, is paying attention to your mini-map, remembering everything you have available to you in an effort to get away. But that's 3 kills to 1, and that equals a 3K lead to Franklin.
And then Franklin's also getting the dragon. It's very unlucky Penn Manor can stop this.
Yeah, the best they can hope for is maybe a steal, but there's no steal incoming. They're at the dragon to
Final Boss
lead.
Bowser was there. He might have been able to dash in and get the...
but it's not looking good, and there's a kill, and Final Boss Bowser goes down. Pretty Huntress goes down.
Yikes.
And that is, again, 2 there, and that makes it a 5-1 as far as deaths go, and a 5K lead. So this is spiraling.
Very, like the first round.
Yeah, very much like the first round, spiraling out of control.
Yes. It might just, I hate saying it, but it looks like we might get a 3-0 here.
It might be a 3-0, and I find that many games, if you watch championships games, end up 3-0. But you know, Penn Manor are a young team, a new team, and if you have people that have been playing together for a while that know the game much better than. The only way you get better is through experience and time. It looks like they are trying to maybe take out the Rift Herald, but Final Boss Bowser there to kind of stop it.
And there's others there. The Warwicks might try to still take it, though.
Yeah, he might. It looks like he's trying to take it, but Final Boss Bowser isn't that far away, and he's going to be there to kind of answer it, maybe.
They noticed that.
Let's go up there and kind of focus on it. So they have started the Rift Herald. But Final Boss is there, and also looks like Owen's coming down from top, kind of put some pressure.
They might be able to switch the mass around if they're able to get the Rift Herald.
If they are able to look at the Rift Herald, we'll see.
Looks like they kind of just want left on.
Yeah, they kind of just let it go.
There goes Akuryu.
Yep.
Rift Herald's getting pretty far out there. But
Yep, so first Earl, it kind of goes back to his lane, and that's about it. Oh, looks good. Could be trouble for Final Boss Bowser, who got sucked back in, and he's down. Just making it 7-1, and Franklin goes to a 5K gold lead. Again, no towers have fallen. We're 13 minutes in. That means there's some protection being done to the towers, but the towers currently are unguarded except for Ash, who comes in. Ash's support, and Ash really can't do a ton of damage there, but is trying to.
Yeah, Ash with her character more has a range.
Yeah, so
makes it a lot easier to finish off it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're back to the laning phase. You see some stuff being happening here, and you'll see that Penn Manor kind of have some pressure being put on them from the as they're trying to take the red buff here in the bot section of the jungle. But he's getting harassed a little bit by the other jungler.
But they did catch Sienna out of position there.
Right, and we did get some help from the bot lane to come in there.
They realized that. Oh, yeah.
Right.
They could get Sienna here. She's out of position, and our help is a little bit away.
Right. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. They replace the ward in that dragon there to kind of bring some pressure, and it looks like Penn Manor intends maybe to take a dragon here. Dragon spawning in about 1 minute 53 seconds, right?
But the thing is, if they're trying to take dragon here, that could. Ooh, but then comes the gank.
In comes the gank. Yeah, so in comes the gank. We're going to see here flashing away, though, is Final Boss Bowser, who flashes over the wall and kind of gets away from that.
I don't think he flashed through the wall. I think he just ran through it.
Ran through. Well, it's probably an ability, but he jumps over the wall and it was done. It probably wasn't his flash. You're right. So kind of while the ADC is waiting to respawn, Final Boss Bowser kind of helping down in the bot lane there a little bit.
Yes, that is. Ooh, they might be able to get 2 kills here, which could.
So we'll see what happens here.
With a third. Getting a sleep off.
There's
and a
sleep,
stun.
and that's good. And this could
And
be.
there's the shutdown.
There's a shutdown there, and
Yes.
some
And
pressure
another
being
one?
put. Will he do it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes,
Double kill.
double kill. So nicely
Very
done.
well done.
This should pave the way for them to go and get their first dragon, right?
Yes, but there's also the fact that it looks like Franklin will be getting the Rift Heralds because they're going for that.
They're going for the Rift Herald.
Yes.
And
Slide that up there.
yeah, so jump up
Oh,
to the
geez,
Rift
I
Herald.
am very bad at that.
Yep, jump up to the Rift Herald, and they
There
got the
goes.
Rift Herald,
Sadly.
and they also got the first turret. It looks like.
Yeah, Rift Herald is very bad, especially with the shields just about falling.
Yep. So that makes it. It's a timing thing, and it means it looks like we might have some movement down toward the dragon as well for Franklin.
Well, I need to hurry. Penn Manor has a lot of things to work on here.
So dragon has spawned, and it's hard to know. It looks like the Beast Unleashed will begin work on that, and it looks like it might go uncontested.
Yeah, which is surprising.
Yep.
Oh, no, long range.
Yep, long range trying to answer it.
To get it.
And final
And
boss
Bob.
coming in to try and steal this. Oh, then they have
nice.
slain the dragon. This, of course, final boss Bowser being taken out there. But a nice attempt by Penn Manor to kind of steal the dragon.
Yes, we'll see what happens here. With bot tower getting very low.
Yeah, bot tower's very low. Pretty Huntress being kind of called out here.
Yep.
Flashed, rooted. Probably a death for him, another
Fear.
kill for him. You'll see the kills stacking up against Penn Manor as Franklin comes into almost a 10K lead. 10K lead by him. So that's good enough. And they've summoned the Rift Herald. It looks like it's going to be the mid tower here, and they're going to be going for also the inhibitor tower as that's taken down. Although looks like they will try to take down Shelly before he actually gets into the inhibitor tower, and they are unable to do it. Unable to do that, and so that will be more gold in the pocket for Franklin. Although Franklin unable to actually take down the inhibitor tower, but they are now working on the bot tower.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting it down.
Yep. So Penn Manor, no towers for Penn Manor, 4 for Franklin. 11 kills. You'll see that we are now up over an 11K lead.
One of the main problems here, though, is the level differences you see with Owen and the other with the two top laners with one having a 2-level advantage now.
Yeah, 2-level advantage, and that's just tough. That's tough to recover from. But even across the board, you'll see that the other team, except for the acceptance support, has a level advantage.
Barely got. There's nearly another kill for Penn Manor.
Yeah, nearly another. We'll celebrate any kill that Penn Manor can get.
Anyway.
But, at least they're playing as a team and they're working as a team. And what it comes down to is just skill level and time spent playing the game. That's what it really comes down to here.
The thing is, most of the people on Franklin have played enough.
And you could tell from the names on them.
Yes.
Looks like Penn Manor is going to put pressure. They're tower diving here. But I don't know that they'll be able to do too much more to kind of get it. And you'll see Franklin putting some pressure at top, especially as they put pressure on the top tower there. But they're trying to keep this mid tower from being taken. And there's 3 in here putting pressure here. And again, it looks like we're going to lose top tower at the top. And that they're just going to let it fall. Although there's some continued pressure from Penn Manor now to answer that top tower pressure.
Yes. No, there's the Baron getting ready. Let's see what happens here.
Yep. So the Baron is the Baron up yet? Not yet.
Not yet. It's
Not
got
yet.
another
30 seconds. And I will tell you though, it probably is game if they take the Baron Nasher.
Oh yes.
They take Baron
It might
Nasher.
be game even if they don't.
Yeah. They're going to have to make a call here for what's going to happen. So it looks like Penn Manor kind of congregating around toward the top with some answers here in the mid and the bot lane, but
There goes another tower.
another tower is falling, and the red turn, and Penn Manor just unable to get any tower. Austin being kind of called out and caught out. There's just too much of a level disparity to make this
Well, the
a
weird thing is
fair
Austin
game.
is that he was a level above.
Well, it's hard to kind of see that here. and hard to see that come out.
One main issue for Penn Manor is definitely that Mordekaiser.
That Mordekaiser with the level, it's going to be hard. You'll see them kind of being called out. And it looks like it's going to be almost a team sweep here.
Yeah.
It's one person, two people alive on Penn Manor, and
the
one
inhibitor.
barely with any health.
This looks like this might be
Yeah, so they have the inhibitor destroyed. They are coming into the Nexus Towers. We're going to see if they can actually do anything against the Nexus Towers here. But a lot of pressure being put on Penn Manor in the base.
Let's see what can happen here.
I mean,
And there's a surrender.
Yep,
Yeah.
there is a surrender. And the second game goes to Franklin. Congrats to them, and congrats to Penn Manor. Well played. Again, a few more kills now for Penn Manor this time. They only had one kill the first game, so that's a real good thing. But again, just not enough damage to
Especially not enough on the minions.
That's where it comes down to. No one's up over 100 here, and that is problematic. But all right, well, Jared, any final comments on the game here before we cut you loose here?
The main thing I saw was when Penn Manor was all grouped up together, they did seem to be able to really work together and get like 2 kills there.
Right, and so they managed to pull that out, and so that's important. Yeah, we'll just see how it all ends up here. All right, we'll be back in just a little bit. So we're gonna give you our social media here, and then we'll be back. All right. Well, welcome. And what I have is I brought Alex, who was playing Final Ball Spouser in the last 2 games we played. How you doing, Alex?
I'm surviving.
You're surviving? Yeah. Rough game, huh?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You know, it's hard. We have a pretty young team, and you're playing a team that obviously has some experience, some solid communication.
Yeah.
You obviously have a lot of experience, as does Julie and maybe Akira a little bit. But you're dealing with a young team, and it's hard to kind of bring that in when you have a team that works as well as Franklin did.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. Sorry.
Yep,
The
so-
issue was, I mean, their heck room was really good.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that?
So
oh my
that's
gosh.
like it's hard to micromanage all of our new players because Ash is obviously all the way in the bot lane, and I'm predominantly going to be all the way in the top lane. So it's like, figuring out how to contest like dragons, barons, everything like that is sort of like we're working on it. We're gonna improve it for next week.
Yeah,
so
yeah. That's all you can do. You can improve and play and continue to increase your skill level and practice. You know, it's really hard. I mean, and you're right. You can only get places so fast, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you might see something happening, but you just can't get there.
Yeah.
And you weren't running with teleport. You were running with like flash and ignite, right?
As Darius top, I went flash ignite in hopes that I could kill the Mordekaiser early and get ahead, but mid got ahead a lot, and then jungle sort of was running all over the place and killing.
And you know, once a gold starts steamrolling, it becomes hard.
Yeah.
Hard to recover from that.
So
Nonetheless, Franklin played well.
Yeah.
And I mean, how did you feel about your own performance despite that?
I think we did well trying to manage all of them. I definitely say we have a lot to learn, but
Right.
I'm hoping that by the end of the season we can be, somewhere further than where we are now. So.
Well, yeah, that's obviously the hope and the goal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming and sitting down, chatting with me a little bit, and appreciate. We're going to sign out here. Thank you for joining us in the chat today, as we are and in the stream, and we look forward to seeing you next week.